Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 3 English lesson on adverbs that compare. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade 3. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of adverbs that compare. All right, so our chapter is adverbs that compare. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 3. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under our chapter of adverbs that compare it is to use adverbs to compare. So that's going to be the lessons for today. We're going to use adjectives to compare. All right. So when it comes to adverbs that compare, we can use adverbs to compare actions. So firstly, an adverb, it tells us more about a verb, or we can say an adverb tells us more about an adjective or another adverb. And when it comes to adverbs that compare, right? We see that we can use adverbs to compare action. You are being very rude. Whoever is it, Sybil, I'm going to remove you. I'm going to remove you if you are going to use whatever language that you are using. The lesson just started and already you are chatting the way you are. So Sybil Mulugeta, I'm going to remove you if you're going to use whatever language that is not appropriate on this platform. Let's just focus on whatever on the lesson today and do you that let's do that. Guys, if we're going to use language that is not appropriate, I'm going to forcefully remove you. So let us be respectful, please. All right, so we said adverbs, right? It tells us more about a verb or describes a verb, or it tells us more or describes an adjective or another adverb. So today we're doing adverbs, that compare. And you can basically use adverbs to compare the different actions because remember, an adverb, it tells us more about a verb. So which means that a verb is a doing word, it's an action. So if we, compare adverbs, it means that we are using the adverb to compare different actions. And when it comes to adverbs that compare, we have superlative adverbs and we have comparative adverbs. So we have comparative adverbs and we have superlative adverbs. And when it comes to comparative adverbs, the word comparative, right? So comparative adverbs, it compares how two actions are done. So only two actions are done. So comparative adverbs, it compares how two actions are done. And then we have superlative adverbs. And a superlative adverb, right? It compares how more than two actions are done. That's superlative. Superlative compares how more than two actions are done. So once again, we have comparative adverbs, and comparative adverbs, it compares how two actions are done. And it ends in ER. And then we have a superlative adverb. And superlative adverbs, it compares how more than two actions are done. And it ends in EST. And for adverbs that have as one syllable, right? All we do is we add er to our comparative adverb and we add est to our superlative adverb. And if we look at an example, right? This is both examples of comparative adverbs as well as superlative adverbs. And in order for us to make the superlative as well as comparative adverb, we're now going to look at an example. So we usually have our base word, right? For example, our base word is soon. But now if we want to show the comparative adverb, and we said our base word is soon, that will tell us when the action will take place soon. And then we have so soon is our adverb that tells us the action, when the action takes place. But now we have a comparative adverb. We're now comparing the two actions. So we come with comparative adverb, it is sooner, because we remember we said it ends with an er, sooner. So soon are we doing something? But if you compare two people, actions, or things, to actually two, not two people, two things, two actions, then we can say sooner because now we added an ER to that. So sooner is our comparative adverb, but then soonest is a superlative adverb. So soon, when are you going to be doing something? Soon. If you compare it to to two things, it's sooner than you think. If you compare it to more than two things, then it is soonest. That basically shows how actions are compared. So the base of an adverb, it basically just tells us when an action is being done. Like, for example, with adverbs, right? Adverbs, they either tell us how something is being done, when it's being done, and where it is being done. So you will basically know your adverb based on how it is being used within a sentence. But now, once you start comparing adverbs, then for our comparative adverb, we add ER. And for our superlative, we add EST. But if you don't compare adverbs, it will basically just stay as the base word. All right. So if we look at an example, let me make an example, right, of the base word. All right. Um, let's say we make an example where we say she sold the house soon after her husband passed. So, for example, if we look at this sentence, right, she sold the house soon after her husband passed, then it means that soon is our adverb, right? Soon is our adverb that is basically just our base adverb. Soon, because we are not comparing at all. Once you start comparing your adverbs, right, your actions, So soon is basically our base adverb. We're not comparing that sentence. All right. So we said when it comes to comparative adverbs, right? We add er, but when it comes to the superlative adverbs, we add est. And the superlative is soonest. And also when it comes to adverbs, right? Adverbs that have more than one syllable, like for example, usually adverbs that tell us how, they have more than one syllable because they will have the adverb will be usually it ends with an ly. And then we have then we have, like I said, the superlative where we add the est. All right. And remember, we just mentioned now two, comparing more than two. But now, in order for you to make more than one syllable, if we have more than one syllable, whether it is for the whether it is for the superlative adverb, so if we have, for example, more than one syllable, right? So soon is the adverb that tells us more. It's the action that is being done. All right. And in order for us to make it more comparative, right? So when it comes to comparative adverbs, right? We just basically have to add most in front of the word in order to show that it's a comparative adverb. And now, once again, we have our base word. This is now adverbs with more than one syllable. All right. All right. All right. So we said that we have our base word is a word that is on its own. And remember, when we have more than, let's say, for example, there is, when it comes to our different adverbs, right? The superlative as well as the comparative adverbs, we say that if it has more than one syllable, and remember, syllable, you can even use your hand to just tap to see how many syllables there are. If it's only one syllable, yes, we just add er, yes, we just add est. But now, when it comes to the comparative and the superlative adverbs, right, and there's more than one syllable, then to make the comparative, we need to add most or more in front of the word. So we use more in front of a word that is comparative. All right. So let's say, for example, we are now saying how an action is being done, right? So I got home, something about safely. So safely is our adverb. Remember, that is our base word. It's the adverb that you use when you are writing a sentence. Safely. I got home safely. But now, if we want to show the comparative form of the word safely, we need to compare that. Then instead of just saying safely here, we are saying more safely. That's the comparative adverb, more safely. And then instead of saying the superlative safely, yes, we say most safely. So he's safe, for example, we are still driving safely. If we compare it to other people, also we say we are more safely or the most safely. All right. And then when it comes to adverbs, right? Then also, if example, our adverb starts also sometimes with a Y or ends with a Y. All right. And if we look at an example, earlier or early, she arrived early. So she arrived early, but John arrived earlier. You see where we added the IER earlier and we basically removed or dropped the Y. The same, yeah, by the superlative, we remove the Y. And if we're not comparing, you know, it to more than two people, then we say, for example, Jack is the earliest. So early or earliest. Well done. So now we're going to we're going to a+students.ca, and we're going to use adverbs to compare. So we are using adverbs to compare. All right. Here it says Susan sang. Do we say Susan sang loud? Do we say Susan sang loud, louder, or do we say Susan sang loudest? Then Matthew in the class. So Susan sang, then Matthew in the class play. Is it loud, louder, or loudest? And if we compare two people, remember if you're comparing two actions that people do, yes, well done. Then we can say Susan sang louder. Because remember, we said that if we are comparing two people, our adverb ends in an ER. So well done. My new model airplane flies. Do we say is it fly high? Then the old one, do we say it flies higher or highest? All right. And here where it says that my new model airplane flies, does it fly high than the old one, higher than the old one, no highest than the old one? And we can then say that my model airplane flies higher than my old one. All right. So now we're going to our test where we are going to use adverbs to compare. We're going to use adverb to compare. Higher is correct. Well done. All right, so we need to complete the sentence with the correct form of the adverb. It says Johnny ran the fastest, option one, of all his classmates, or faster, option two, of all his classmates. Which one is correct? So Johnny ran fast, but now if we compare him to the rest of the class, do we say Johnny ran the fastest or the faster than all of his classmates? Which one is correct? And remember, if we add, we basically, for example, where you are comparing actions of more than two people, then we said it ends in est. All right. And if we compare him to more than one person or two, more than two people, then it means that it ends with an ESC because that's superlative. So Johnny ran the fastest. Because remember, that is the superlative, right? So yes, well done. The fastest, which is option one. If we look at the next one, it says early complaint. Carly complained, sorry. Do we say more angrily than Brad about the late train? Or most angrily? All right. But now if we're comparing it to two or more, it is Carly complaint. Just not angrily, not just anger, but angrily. So it should be saying she complained more angrily than Brad about the late train. Because remember now this is comparing it, right? All right, then the last one, and then we're done. Stacy spoke the instead of saying shyly of all the students in the class. If if we're comparing it to the other students in the class, and then we can say Stacy spoke the most shyly of all the students in the class. All right. Oh, because we are comparing it to to all of the to two or more students. Sorry, I did not check that one. If we are comparing it to more than two people, and then it means that we're adding most to our word. All right, but this is the end of our lesson on adverbs that compare. We said that when it comes to adverbs, right, adverbs either describes or tells us more about a verb, an adverb, or another adjective. But now when we compare adverbs, right? When we compare adverbs, we either use comparative adverbs that ends in er, where we're comparing two or more either two things, and we use superlative adverb, right? Where we're comparing two or more things, and that ends in est. All right, so this is the end of our lesson on adverbs that compare. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining the class, and I really hope you're going to have a good day further. So, till next time, goodbye.